Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Lakshya Mahindru. I am a second year student at SIDTM. I specialize in analytics and finance, and I'm a fresher. Along with me, my co host is PVS Vaishnavi. Vaishnavi, please go ahead.
Hi everyone. I I'm a first year MBA student at SIDTM Pune, and I specialize in systems and finance. I have work experience of a little over a year in the marketing department of an IT based startup. So that was a little bit about me. Now, let's step right in. So now that there are only about 2 days left for the third attempt of Snap, I would say consistency is the key. Stick to the schedule that you've set up for yourself, and try to attempt at least one mock in a day, and allocate as much time as possible for analysis of the same. Also, since you've probably also already received your hall tickets as well, and you know the slot of your snap exam, try to attempt the mock in the same time as the slot that is given to you, so that like you have like a mock exam environment and you're able to perform and know how you perform during that time. Also, it is important that you have your strategy in terms of time management set up by now. For example, what I did was I allocated about 10 minutes to the general English section, about 30 minutes to the LR section, and 20 minutes to the quant section. So make sure you set up a time allocation pattern that suits you, and take into account your strengths and weaknesses during that time. Um, Now coming to the SNAP attempt one, that was on the 10th of December. The general English section in the SNAP attempt one was sort of in the easy to medium zone. The analytical and logical reasoning was about easy to medium, and the quantitative data interpretation and data sufficiency was sort of in the medium to difficult zone. So in the general English section, we didn't have any RCs this time. There weren't any para-jumbles or para-summary questions as well. And the major topics of English that came were, it was pretty much a grammar-oriented section. They were fill in the blanks, there were compound words, and there was a poem as well, with well more like two rhyming lines, and preposition and conjunction were the line of questioning that it was in. So if that's something that you've not gone through already, then I would suggest you go through the same. um, in this section, the questions were fairly direct, and there were not a lot of questions that aspirants would have struggled at. So compared to last year, this section was like a notch easier to score, and so it would have given aspirants the chance to allocate less than 10 minutes for general English and spend the remaining time on LR and QA. So that was a little bit about general English. In LRDI section, there were about 25 questions. There are about 25 questions in this section, and similar to last year, the difficulty level of this section was sort of moderate. And out of the 25 questions that were given, about 12 questions were from verbal reasoning, and they were all in the easier zone. And about 16 to 18 questions could be considered a good attempt for this. And coming to non-verbal reasoning, the questions were in the lines of circular arrangements, clocks and calendars, family tree, coding, decoding, and there was also a puzzle that appeared, which was sort of doable. And most aspirants all there was a section of aspirants that mentioned that the blood relations questions was easy, but there were also a couple of aspirants who mentioned it was sort of in it was in the trickier zone. So you might want to be a little careful about that as well. Um, in coming to the QA section, out of 20 questions in this section, about 19 questions were in the quantitative aptitude section, and there was one question from the data interpretation section, and no questions at all from data sufficiency. The overall difficulty level of this section was between moderate to difficult, mainly because the questions were lengthier. as compared to last year. So there were questions from averages, percentages, time, speed, distance, time and work, and these were questions which were in the easier zone. Arithmetic and modern math had 7 questions each, and a question related to trigonometric ratios, which hasn't appeared before, had also turned up this year in the first slot. It is to be noted that a lot of questions also had were sort of option-based questions. So you have to solve through the options, and a lot of them also had none of the above as their answer. So that is something you could keep in mind. Now coming to the second slot analysis of SNAP. Here as well, the general English section was in the easier zone. Analytical and logical reasoning was in the easier zone as compared to the first SNAP slot, and the quantitative aptitude section was in the moderate to easy zone. There were no major changes in terms of difficulty level from the first slot, or changes in pattern for that matter. Like the first slot, there were no RCs in the second slot as well, and all questions were on verbal ability. This was also a pretty grammar dominated slot, and there was one question which was from a poem, where one had to identify the line in which there was the correct order of words. So that is something that turned up. And in grammar, aspirants were tested on their knowledge in terms of parts of speech, tenses, active, passive, suffixes, etc. The fact that no RCs turned up this year in the first 2 slots made it less time consuming. And so overall, about 13 to 14 attempts could be considered like good attempts for this section, considering the level of difficulty. In LR and DI section, there were about 10 questions from verbal reasoning, and the remaining 15 were non-verbal reasoning. Similar to attempt 1, there were more non-verbal reasoning questions than verbal reasoning. And a couple of question types were statement and assumption, strong and weak arguments, logical consistency, and the others which are displayed on the screen. In terms of non-verbal reasoning, questions were based on clocks, family tree, series completion, linear arrangement, and there were no set-based questions in this slot or the previous one for that matter. And overall, the section was a medium difficulty level. A good strategy to tackle this section would have been to attempt about 18 to 19 questions in about 24 to 26 minutes. So yeah, that was about it. And in the non-verbal reasoning, there was questions related to circular arrangement, clocks, calendars, and so on, similar to the first slot. In the QA section, out of the 20 questions, 18 questions were in the quantitative aptitude zone, and there were 2 questions in the data interpretation section. And overall, this section was a notch easier than the previous SNAP attempt. And there were about 5 questions in terms of arithmetic, followed by 4 modern math questions and 3 geometry questions. In this as well, there was a lot of option-based solving, like the previous slot. A good strategy for this could have been to solve around 13 to 14 questions in about 20 to 20 minutes. So that was a little bit about the slot analysis. Now, I'd like to take you through the timetable. So now that there are literally only 2 days left, what you can do during this time is solve, as I mentioned before, solve at least 1 mock paper in a day, and give yourself ample time to analyze the same. Make sure that you constantly revise formulas, because SNAP is a time-based exam and every minute counts here. And once you're done with the exam, I think give yourself time to rest, take a break, and start preparing for the next mile in the process. Start going through current affairs, go through latest trends in technology, start reading the newspaper and going through news in the last 6 months, and start giving mock group discussions. if you're someone like me and you find group discussions a little intimidating, this is the perfect time to start preparing. Also, make it a point to start working on your SOP. Note down your strengths, your weaknesses, things, achievements you've had over the past couple of years, and start preparing for your interview, because that is a huge game changer as well. And the most important thing, play on your strengths. So that is something that you should keep in mind. So Lakshay, do you have any tips for the aspirants in terms of their GEPI?
Thank you so much, Vaishnavi. That was indeed not just analysis of snap attempts, but indeed a deep dissection of each and every part that you covered there. So now that there is only 2 days remaining, there are some final tips that I would like to, uh, categorize to the part of preparation. Then I can talk about GEPI. In this very little time, as Vaishnavi has said, giving one mock and analysis of it is very important. Also, on the side, I would recommend that you should be memorizing your grammar. If there is somewhat of a small notes that you prepared, or whatever course of learning you have took for studying grammar, you should go through it. There are very small things like remembering the synonyms for words or antonyms or idioms, but going through all of that material right now would be a very good call. Moving on towards the GE and PI part, uh, since the world is evolving and there is a pattern that any sort of interview or any scenario, you should be aware about the current affairs, whatever is going on. So I would recommend some part of the national news and some part of the international news, whatever is going between different countries, whatever is going on inside your country, and some sort of tech-based current affairs as well. What is happening in the business world and technological world. Then, if you have a set of good friends and you can give group mock discussions with them, that is a very healthy practice to engage yourself in. And lastly, you should just play by your strengths in any sort of interviews or group discussions. Uh, Having to believe in yourself and just using your strength on whatever topic you're comfortable will lead you through multiple victories in these kind of scenarios. We can move to the next
Right.
slide, Vaishnavi.
Yeah. So now coming to the strategy that you can adopt for the third attempt of Snap. So the level of difficulty, as we've seen from the past two slots, is that the general English section ranges between easy to medium. So the ideal time you should be allocating for this is less than 10 minutes. And considering the time that we have left, focus on things that you have control over at this point. One thing that I noticed even when we were doing our aspirant outreach program, which is called Sim Connect, is that verbal is the most ignored section out of the three. So what people don't realize is that if you focus on proper time management and allocating like preparing a proper strategy for yourself, this section can turn out to be like a game changer and can help you score more. So as I mentioned before, what you can do at this point is focus on things that you have control over. Do not go about going through words at this point, because you never know what might turn up at the paper. Look at things like revising grammar rules, going through questions on nouns, pronouns, conjunctions, and things like that, things that you can work on even at this point. So that is what I would suggest. And yeah, also focus on studying figures of speech. That is something that I would suggest. It's a pretty important topic. In terms of LR, the level of difficulty is moderate. The ideal time you should be allocating for this section is about 20 to 25 minutes. And even in this section, work on your strengths. If you feel like you're good at clocks and calendars, blood relations, then go ahead and solve those questions first. Um, Next, simplify the data and question. So for me, when I was solving questions in blood relations, I felt like making a tree diagram is something that worked for me. So if that is something that works for you as well, then go ahead and do that. Do anything to simplify the data and present data in a format that you can understand and um, and solve the question faster. Also, try to answer questions like clocks and calendars, directions in your mind rather than using a pen and paper, because that makes it more time consuming. Um, Coming to the strategy for quantitative aptitude, the level of difficulty here is moderate, and the ideal time you should be allocating for this section is about 20 to 22 minutes. So out of the 20 questions that appear in the SNAP exam, about 15 of them are in the easy to moderate zone, and about 5 to 6 questions could be more difficult questions. So what you can do is, instead of spending a lot of time and effort on the 5 to 6 questions that are in the difficult zone, might as well solve the 15 questions that are on the easier side. And out of these 15 questions are also more formula oriented, so which makes it important for aspirants to constantly go through formulas, and in the last, just make it a point to go through them before you sleep. And if, like, for me, I felt like just putting a sheet of paper in front of my table, sorry, in front of me when I before going to sleep, that is something that I did, just reading the formulas like that. And also just go learn snap topics and go through tables, cubes, squares, and percentage equivalents. So that is something that can help you within the last minute preparation tips.
All right, guys. So let's talk a little about how SIDTM could be a good fit for you. Vaishnavi, can we move to the next one? All right. So what SIDTM has to offer you, we are called techno managers, as what our college is offering is a blend of technology and management. So we have courses based on tech and courses based on management. So this prepares a mix which is called Techno Manager. We have 100% placement record, and it's an inclusive learning environment with lots of facilities like sports, extracurricular, and there are also multiple guest lectures and additional learning that you can opt in at SIDTM. Moving on, we have three specializations at SIDTM: systems and finance, marketing and finance, and analytics and finance. Like I talked about in the very beginning of this webinar, I am from analytics and finance specialization, and Vaishnavi here is from systems and finance specialization. What is covered in all of these specializations are different courses regarding to the domain specific subjects that you choose. Moving on, before we move on, I would like to discuss that how finance is a compulsory specialization across all of these. So at SIDTM, finance is business finance, which is something that you should be knowing in terms of your future as you go through an MBA. Wherever you go outside, there is this vital finance knowledge that you should be having about a company, about the management. This is going to be helpful in your professional and personal life. So, finance is a compulsory minor at SIDTM. This is not hardcore CA based or CA level mathematics of finance. It is just basic introduction, company and management level finance. Let's have a glimpse at the infrastructure at SIDTM. First of all, it's a beautiful hilltop campus based at Lovely. Most of the times, after you're done with the classes and your subjects, whatever you have to go through committees and clubs, you can just sit around and enjoy the views, watch good sunsets and everything. At least that's what we all do after we are done with ours. We have a huge swimming pool and an auditorium, which is shared with other institutes of the SI University. Moving on, let's talk about we have a completely eco-friendly campus with gym facilities as well as you can ride in on bicycles, community bicycles around here. We have all sorts of sports facilities like badminton, volleyball, squash, football, basketball, etc. Now let's see what is the life of a student at SIDTM like. So we have multiple events throughout the academic year where So some events are academic based, like corporate orientation programs. Some events are to bring out the fun nature between the first year and the second year batch, as well as outside community. One of such events is Icebreaker, wherein first year batch and the second year batch come together and play a round of sports. And it's a very friendly way where sports brings out the best in us. And it's right in the starting of the joining of the new batch where everyone can bond together and pursue. Moving forward, let's talk about summer placement. So this summer placement is for my batch, that is 2022 and 24. Highest stipend which is seen, that is during the summer placements, that is summer internship, was highest stipend of 2.5 lakhs was given to the students. Average 25 was 1.5 lakhs for the summer internships. Moving on, since the placement season is still going on with a very few students left to be placed, these are the interim stats that are with us here. Highest package is 29.04 lakhs. Average for top 25 is 18.17 lakhs. Average for top 50 is 15.83 lakhs. All of these amounts are in rupees, of course. So this is a list of our premium, most prominent recruiters. You can always go to the website and check them out there as well. I would name just a few here. Accenture Strategy and Consulting, Accenture IT, Accenture Tech Consulting. There is Protivity, there is PwC, there's EY, Tejas Networks, Cognizant, AT&T, Airtel, etc., etc. And the names go on. For more information, you can just check this at our website. Let me pause right here for a second and answer a few questions that were coming up. All right, so I would like to start from here. Sudhanshu has asked that how is the environment at SIDTM? Say the environment in terms of learning as well as the physical being over here. I would say that both is pretty good. You have multiple courses that you can enroll yourself in here. I mean, the three specializations that we talked about. Inside of that as well, you can choose your subjects, whatever is specified to that very field. Other than that, we have a beautiful campus where you can always relax and go for more walks and keep up with your health and everything as well. Okay, Shikha Jain here has asked how to handle calculation heavy questions in SNAP examination. I would say that SNAP exam do not really have very calculation intensive, extensive questions. It is mostly concept based, but some tricks that you can uh, use to cope up with that is remembering squares and cubes of some specific common numbers, keeping some multiples at your fingertips. The more mocks you give, the more fluent you will get in doing all of this. But surely remembering and practicing stuff and writing it down is always a good tip for SNAP examination. Sridhar Adhik, is SIDTM a good option for freshers? Yes, certainly. As I explained it myself, I am a fresher myself, and it is a great option for freshers in the sense that it combines all kinds of learning experience. If you want to go explore marketing field, you're free to join marketing. If you want to try analytics, you can try analytics. And even if you are from a different background and you yet want to try your hand at a more technical side of the things, then you can join in systems as well. Of course, for all of this, there is a specialization allotment test, and depending upon your preference and the score of that, your specialization is decided.
So the next question is, can you share some tips on how to increase the accuracy rate? So considering there are like literally 2 days left, I think the best thing that you can do at this point is to attempt at least one mock a day and make sure that you have your time time management strategy in place, because that is extremely essential. Decide beforehand how much time you want to allocate for each section, and be strict to that timeline. And another way you can be quick is to solve questions that you have prepared for. If you feel that percentages, arithmetic, modern maths is your strength, then go ahead and solve that first. And the best thing about Snap is that you can go between sections. So once you're done with general English, you can go to quants as well. So that is something that you can take advantage of as well.
All right. So Aniket has asked, what is a safe score to get a call from SIDTM? I would say that uh, somewhere around 75 to 85 would be a safe score, but you should be aiming for more because we cannot really predict per se that how the third attempt and the third set of snap is going to be. So hope for the best and aim for the best. Saisha says that I did not perform well in the last two attempts. How can I make up in terms of time management? I think we have discussed this thoroughly, that you should be learning more and more formulas. You should be practicing the grammar rules as well as memorize some words, add in vocabulary to your head, and try to give sectional mocks, if not the complete mock at this time. There is, for time management, only learning formulas and enough practice is the way. But since very little time is left, I would recommend you using shortcuts for most of the formulas.
So the next question is, what are the facilities provided by SIDTM other than academics? So, other than academics, students can participate in many activities like tennis, swimming, pool, and we also have a swimming pool, as we've showed in the slides previously. So our campus is like a pretty great place to be, where students can take a break from their studies and allocate ample time for recreation activities as well.
All right. So the next question is that as from commerce background, will I face difficulty in handling SIDTM's curriculum? And no, it's not like that at all. SIDTM teaches everything from the basics, since I am also from a commerce background, and I had very little idea about what is technology and how technical stuff is done. But it is not a problem, as there are bridge courses for each and everything. If you're from a finance background, if you're from a commerce background, you will get bridge courses in technical. And if you're from a technical background, you'll get bridge courses in finance department. So this is where they teach everything right from the beginning. And after by the end of your first semester, or sometime more or less around that period only, you would be at par with the learning of your batch. So it is not a problem. So someone was asking about different events and what are the facilities that are available at SIDTM other than academics. We have a lot of activities that we talked about, but there is just some events that I would like to tell you about here. Since we are not only studying and relaxing all the time, we are also involved in events that give you corporate exposure and makes you understand how to work in a pressured environment whenever you would be going to MNC to work there, or whatever job profile or career line you choose for you, how to manage different things at a time. So we recently have an event coming up by the name IDTS, which is International Digital Telecom Seminar. Herein, we would be having a lot of chat about the digital arena, what is coming forward for us, how things are going to change in the telecom industry, etc., etc. And we are also inviting multiple students to visit the campus and be a part of this event. So, if any one of you would like to get a chance, would like to have the chance to have a view of this campus, check in how the classrooms are, how the view and feel of SIDTM is, you are most welcome to join. We will provide a link at the end of this webinar, and you can register yourself there, and we will see you.
So we have another question, which is I have a gap of 6 months and I graduated June of this year. Do I have a chance? So that should not really be an issue. If you can justify your gap and narrate your story in the right way, then that shouldn't really be an issue. Uh, so if there's some course that you've taken up during this time, some NGO work that you were involved in, do make sure that you mention that because that can be a huge plus point and a talking point in terms of your interview.
All right. Vaishnavi, would you like to take up the next question?
Sure. Uh, so the next question by Sridhar is what unique opportunities or advantages does SIDTM offer to its students that set it apart from other institutions in the field of digital and telecom management? So what really makes us stand out is our curriculum, which is pretty much industry aligned, and we also have a strong industry connections. We have strong industry connections and expert faculty who guide us through the process. Um, we have a pretty practical. We have a pretty practical learning approach, and we have numerous opportunities for networking. We have several guest lectures where um, people from different companies like EY, Accenture, Stat come over and give us advice and tell us about their experiences. So that is a huge advantage. Feel free to add on to this, Lakshay.
Right. So I think you've covered most of it there, but I actually don't see that there is anything that is left for me to cover about this one. I can talk about the next question here. All right. Sridhar has asked how to avoid negative marking. So, first of all, I would suggest that you should solve the questions that you know correctly. Do not take any guesses right from the beginning and answer as many questions that you can answer correctly very quickly. After that, I would recommend that you go with the elimination method, wherein you just do not make educated guesses, but you also eliminate the options that absolutely cannot be the answer to a question. So after eliminating some of that, you would be getting a very good probability and actually a very good idea of what the correct answer is. And if with any luck, you would be able to get a safe score around this. But I would also recommend that take educated guesses when you very much feel that it is going to be correct. Uh, Someone is asking that I am from arts background. Will that be a disadvantage to get a call? No, it is not any disadvantage for you to get a call, no matter what background you're from. You are giving a separate set of examination, and after you get a score that is acceptable to SIDTM and any other college, you can expect a call.
So Sudhanshu is asking, can I stay in a PG or flat? So MBA from SIDTM Pune is an on-campus one. So it is compulsory for all students to stay on campus. Also, I think doing an MBA on-campus MBA is a totally different experience altogether. And uh, yeah, so that's about it.
Well, I think you're very right there, Vaishnavi. Truly, it is. Very it's I think it's very crucial to the whole experience part that you stay up at this campus and you get to be friends and make contacts and just get to meet more and more people every day as we share campus with five other institutes and we're at all the events different institutes participate in others events and most of the cultural events are like a group hanging out together, so it actually adds to the part and parcel of the whole thing that MBA is offering over here. Moving on, I will take this question where Shikha has asked that I wanted that general English is my weak area during the limited time. What specific changes and strategies would you recommend to improve my performance? Uh, I think you should focus completely on building the vocabulary. At this time, you should try to get through more and more words, try practice tests, and try doing targeted exercises where with a timer wherein you can train your accuracy as well as your time. You should learn and practice more and more grammar rules and whatever. And since you've recognized that this is your weak area, you should give two or more sectional tests for this as well. Since there is very limited time remaining now, this is the most I can recommend you. But if I were there, I would actually spend most of the time going through the vocabulary, since that is not just going to be helpful in direct questions, but also in poems as well as idioms or here or there, wherever it might fit.
So another aspirant is asking, what other specializations offered at SIDTM? So as we've mentioned in the slides before, SIDTM offers three specializations. That's marketing, analytics, and systems. And we also have finance as a compulsory minor for all students. Marketing involves subjects related to consumer behavior, market research, supply chain management. Systems is more of the core and technical subjects like cloud-based architecture, regulatory aspects of telecom, ICT systems, and and then there's analytics, where there's subjects like social media analytics, visual analytics, and I think Lakshay would be the right person to tell you more about that.
So for the analytics specialization, I would say that we get to deal with how to make sense out of numbers very essentially and in the layman terms. We take in lots of data from here and there and then try to make out not just sense but business logic out of it. It's one thing to make bars and graphs out of data, but what we here engage in is business analytics, wherein how this graph or whatever this data is showing could be advantageous for me to implement in my business. So that is the whole deal with analytics. Marketing, as the name suggests, it is towards the act of marketing. But at SIDTM, since we call ourselves techno managers, so there is always an added flair of technology in terms of everything. So here, Martech and AdTech is a huge hot topic, and we have guest lectures and special courses in that as well. I think systems is very well explained by Vaishnavi. So we can move to the next question. So
So the next
someone has asked here that 2 years of experience in XYZ company as officer in salary in cash. Will it be counted? And they are pursuing an internship from IIT Patna in data analytics. Uh, sure, your work experience could be counted if you have proof of 2 years of salary, if you have a valid experience, and if you can produce the relevant documents like the payslip, etc., then it would be counted.
so the next question is from Ashish Mehra. Being from the non-tech background, is it difficult to cope up with the curriculum as it is a niche domain in digital and telecom? So the answer to that is no. It's not very difficult because everything is taught here from the basics. We have bridge classes. So I'm a non-engineer myself. So we have bridge classes in the more technical subjects, and engineers have bridge classes in the finance subjects. So this is done to ensure that all of us have like a equal playing ground. So that is something that SID team proactively does, and our faculty is also very approachable. So that we have like a great support system with us.
All right, let me move on to the next question. Someone has asked that they are getting almost 38 marks in Snap. I would say that it's a good score, and overall, for overall good percentile in Snap, you should focus on GEPI as well. We will be providing mock GD, so stay tuned to our social media pages. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, etc.
So the next question is from Deep Sen. What topics should I prepare the most for quants? How is the weightage managed? So the best answer for this is to focus on is everything, but focus should be on arithmetic, algebra, and some basics of geometry as well. So if your understanding and concepts in these topics are clear, then most of quants is pretty much simplified.
I think we have covered most of the questions. Let me see if there are any new ones. Kumar Aditya, I hope your query is solved. By producing a relevant letter of experience and appointment letter, your experience could be counted. Sudhanshu, can you take a single sharing room? Sorry, single sharing room options are not a readily available thing at SIU. It is not just at SIDTM, but also across all of the institutes that are a part of Lovely Hilltop. It is a policy that SIU implements to promote diversity and not, you know, not having groups in between students. So you would be having minimum a two sharing room. You can opt for a three sharing or four sharing option as well. All right, there are a few new questions. Vaishnavi, would you like to talk about the clubs at SIDTM?
Uh, yeah, sure. So here, SIDTM Pune is a student driven campus, and we encourage students to join clubs and committees. We have about 12 committees, mainly Brandcom, PCIT, iCell, eCell, and Entrepreneurship Cell, and many others, and about seven clubs like Teletalks, Marcus, Finance Club, and many others which you can be a part of. So these clubs and committees conduct a lot of events which which we mentioned earlier in the presentation, like Invest Teacher, Digicon, the Icebreaker, and it gives you a lot of practical experience of how to work in a team, how to interact with external people, and many other skills like that.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. Uh, all right, there is a question that uh, Aditya Kumar has asked that for more information on GDPI. Uh, we will be having a few more webinars and more videos regarding the same coming out. You can just subscribe to our YouTube channel and join us on Instagram and LinkedIn for more information about the same. The ideal way to prepare for GDPI, what is for you to practice what is happening around you. I think you yourself have listed a few topics over here. Preparing about all of these topics and engaging in mock group discussions with your friends or anyone around could be really helpful for the whole process. And like I said before, we would be rolling out certain videos in the same regard. So you can just stay tuned with us. Saisha Saha has asked, what is an ideal profile to get into SIDTM? SIDTM actually openly welcomes all kinds of profile, no matter what your background is. We have people from very diverse background, people from psychology, people from law, people who have studied zoology, etc., etc., studying with us here. So it's sorry. So there's actually no reservation of any kind regarding this, that what is an ideal profile. But I would suggest that if you're someone who has some interest towards technology, or someone who likes to understand how things work, and if not someone, then someone who, takes interest in everyday happenings, then this would be a very good fit for you. And that's how it is from my side. Just a bit of technical inclination is good. Vaishnavi, can you take this last question?
Sorry, I think I'm having network issues. Could you please read it out to me?
Never mind, I'll take it up, no problem. So someone has asked that how can we manage time when attempting Snap? We have already covered this from the very beginning of the webinar, and we also had a very solid strategy for you. So we suggest that you should strictly keep a cap for different sections. Like the ideal from our recommendation is 10 minutes for uh, English section. Then we say around 20-25 minutes for the LRDI, and 20 minutes for uh, the section for the quant section. We would recommend that you cut corners each and everywhere so that you can save up time for the questions where you actually do get stuck. And for best time management, you should practice giving mocks. But since the time is low, at least give one mock and be very rigid about cutting off within the ideal time that we've just told you. It's worth a shot. Try it once. With this, I think we have talked about each and everything, and we have answered a lot of questions as well now. Uh, I would just like to say that we have, as per our analysis, the SNAP attempt this year overall is a little bit easier from how it was the last year. Both of the attempts, one and two, are at moderate level of difficulty, not too hard, not too easy, but still be prepared for each and everything. Practice your rules and formulas well. If you have a problem with certain section, try giving sectional mocks, and always analyze your mock. It only takes so much time, and it is going to help you a lot to figure out where and what you can do better. So that is that. With this, we can end the session.